friends, this is Julie Golding Page, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in St. Stephen, New Brunswick, Canada, along the tidal Scudig or St. Croix River, the traditional territory of the Passamaquoddy. And I'm grateful that they share this beautiful place with us. Today I'm continuing my series of demos of cards using the beautiful Easter Lilies bundle and Easter Lilies stamp set. And today this is the card that we're going to make. And you can actually get the packets, the 3 packets for these 3 cards with all the paper, embellishment, and ribbon supplies that you need. You just add the stamps and the ink, and of course scissors to cut out the images. But you can get those 3 packets free with your order of $60 or more before tax and shipping with me in March, and I'd be happy to send them to you. And the shipping for the packets themselves will be absolutely free and my gift to you. So I hope that you'll take advantage of that. This is a beautiful, beautiful set, and I've really enjoyed working with it. So let's get right to our project now, and I'll tell you some Stampin' news as well. So here's our card. So I'm going to give you a good look at it there. And before we actually get to the card, I wanted to tell you a little bit about some of the news. So I have some classes that are closing this weekend. So my classes are all online that I'm showing you today. I do have some in-person classes running in St. Stephen and also in Campobello. And so if you're around this area, please let me know and I can fill you in on those too. But the first class involves this Sweetest Cherries set, and this is an online class available anywhere in Canada. It's a simple stamping class, and you only need 1 color of ink. This is Sweet Sorbet. And you can use this stamp set, Sweetest Cherries, or you can use whatever you have available in your stash. So this class is $35, including shipping and tax. And it also includes a $15 goodie bag. So I've really tried to up the value for everyone. I know this is a hard time economically for many people. So I've tried to rejig my pricing in a way that works for me so I can keep doing this for you online, and also is much better for you too. So I hope that you'll enjoy that, and you can let me know if you think that it's actually working. So here's another class. We're going to be using this Seaside Bay stamp set. It's very lovely. And here's one of the cards that I made, and it is called Using Markers as Ink. So I made this image here completely with Stampin' Write markers by coloring right on the stamp. So I'll show you how to do that and how to blend them together. Same thing for this sentiment. That's actually a marker on the stamp. So we're going to be doing that in this particular class. And again, it's called Using Markers as Ink. It's also $35, including the tax and the shipping. And it includes a $15 goodie bag as well. And I have one more class to show you. So the other class to show you is this one. It's called Latte Love. And it has these wonderful coffee images, or they could be hot chocolate or tea, whatever you prefer. And we're going to be using this new bundle in that class. And this class is going to be $55, including tax and shipping. And it also includes a $30 goodie bag. So all the goodie bags will be consumable products like embellishments, ribbon, and paper. So they won't include the stamp sets because I know everybody has different stamp sets and will want to use different stamp sets. So those are the classes coming up. So let's have a look at the card today and we'll get right to it. Okay, hi Kathy. Yeah, welcome. I'm glad you could join today. So we're going to be using this beautiful bundle. Now, right now, these Easter Lily dies are not in stock. So we will wait and hopefully they will come back before the catalog retires. But either way, if you place a $60 order or more with me in March, you will receive these die cuts to make this flower. Whether you have the dies at home or not, I pre-cut all the pieces for you, so it's okay. And this card I really like because it's white on white. I like how clean that is. And, oh, hi, Marion. Oh, and my mom's watching too. Hi, everybody. Yeah, it's great you could all join today. So I like that this is white on white. I love the clean look of that. And in fact, the only paper I have used for this entire card is white cardstock. So this whole flower we are going to create using inks. And all you need for this entire card as a paper is white cardstock. So let's get going on that. I'm going to be doing some heat embossing on this. If you don't have the equipment for embossing, I can help you out and let you know what you need for that. And if you don't care to do embossing, I do have suggestions for the inks that you could use instead. So this one is a gold embossing powder, as you can see there. You could use crumb cake ink, which actually looks very much like gold when you stamp it. So we're going to do the embossing first. Here's our panel. And oh yeah, I should mention too that on my website, juliescraftaddict.com, I'll have all the written instructions and the supply list for this entire project later today. But one of the programs I used to create my blog post was not working this morning, and it was a problem on their end with the technology, so I couldn't do anything about that and I couldn't get it up there. But I will include the link in this post later today once it's up and running, or whenever it's up and running again. Okay, so here's my paper. So we are going to use our stamp set and create this beautiful sentiment here. Now, some of you may know already, I'm actually an Anglican priest as well as an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and so I really like this set for the Easter and other kind of religious and biblical sentiments. This is from a Bible verse. And but you don't have to actually go for those kind of sentiments. You could make this card if you're not into the religious or biblical sentiments and just use your own sentiments, something else. And you could make this card in a really beautiful way as well. So they're available to anybody. Okay, but for my purposes today, I'm going to use this one that says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart." And I've got a few of these stamps out because I actually did a class with this last night. But I'm going to dig out this stamp now. And this should fit on a regular kit block. So I use the regular kit blocks, the ones that just are included in kits, for most of my stamping, unless it's something that's really big. If it is really big, I'll get something else. Now that one, it was just bending like that, so it was crooked. So here's a good lesson. So put your stamp so that you can read it. So you can read that it says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart," just on your table. And then pick it up with your stamp block. And that will prevent it from going up or down and kind of arcing on you when you don't want it to have that arc. Okay, so I've got my stamp ready. And now from my embossing tools, I'm going to get out the little embossing buddy. It's kind of a little chalky thing here. And we're going to swipe it across this whole paper. All this does is remove the humidity. So normally on a colder day like it is today, I would be wearing some hand cream. My hands are dry, as you can see, but I did not put that on today because if I did, it would leave fingerprints on my page, and those fingerprints would emboss too, and we don't want that. That's going to look really weird. So I did not do that, so I'll have to hand cream up afterwards. All right, so we're going to take this. I should show you what it is. It's Versamark ink. It's an invisible watermark ink that you can use for other things too, but I mainly use it for embossing and also for conditioning my photopolymer stamps like these ones. So photopolymer, just think of photo and you can see through them. So photo is to see, and you can see through photopolymer stamps. So they need a little conditioning just to remove the factory coating, which is soap. And when you first use them, afterwards they should be fine. And you can use Versamark to do that, to make the image nice and clear for you. All right, let's see if I can get that sort of straight on here. I'm going to use my grid paper in the background. And that grid paper is actually available for purchase from Stampin' Up! If you need some. I always use it as my background paper because you can stamp on it and just have it to catch all of your powders and all these other things that you're using in your stamping. And I find it a really helpful thing to have around. Okay, so let's see how we did. I don't know if you can even see that image on the camera. Oh, just barely. You get a hint of it here and there. So you just kind of have to know where you stamped. And then we are going to take the gold embossing powder. This is from the Metallics embossing powders, and you should have a piece of paper underneath it. So I'm just going to grab one that I had last night. Oops, hope I didn't put a fingerprint there. I touched that by mistake. Oh well, we'll see. If it doesn't work out, I'll just flip it over and we'll use the back. Oh, it looks like it worked fine. Okay, so we just tap off the powder just to make sure we get those little grains. And if you have a little tiny paintbrush, if you see any little grains, you can use that to brush them away. So it depends on how, I guess, particular you want to be about it. I like to get as many of those out of the way as I can. There's one right there. And then you can kind of breathe on it and the excess should disappear there too. All right, that looks pretty good. I think we can go ahead and finish embossing. Before we get out our heat tool though, we're gonna want to put all this powder back in the little vial. So it's a little bit of an investment just to get these powders. I think they were around $25 for the 3, but I've never had to replace any of my colors because you just use a little bit of the powder and you return most of it to the little containers. So you can see the metallics come with copper, gold, and silver. All right. So let's go ahead and we will emboss that now, and you'll see the magic. It's going to turn from this powdery substance that you see here into a raised metallic gold finish and very shiny. So that's what it's going to do. So here's the heat tool from Stampin' Up, and you just turn it on to number 2. The number 1 settings for something else, and it comes with full instructions. But just heat it up for maybe 10 seconds and then it should work like a charm. So let's try that now. My apologies if it gets loud. All right, you can see it start to go there. Yeah, look at that, how it comes to that nice finish. Let's make sure we got all of it there. So that's how easy embossing is. You just use your invisible ink, you put the powder over top, tap it off, and then use the heat tool. If you can use a hairdryer, the heat tool is basically the same thing. It's just really focused heat at the very end of the tool, and that is it. It's actually one of the first techniques I learned in card making a long time ago, and it's super easy actually. So it can look intimidating because it has this heat tool that you plug in, but really, like I said, if you can use a hairdryer, you can definitely use a heat tool. So that is our only stamping that we're going to do, and I'm going to put that panel aside. And now what we're going to do is work on that flower. So I'm going to get another scrap paper. I would suggest a different scrap paper from the one you used for your powder, just so that you don't have powder in your inks. And we are going to make this flower now. And this is incredibly simple as well, even though it probably looks complicated. So let's get right to it here. Oh, my pieces fell out in the envelope. Here we go. All right, so here's all the little pieces. So in case you have these dies or might get them in the future, I'll show you which pieces I used. So we used the 3 pieces of the flower, this one, and this one. So this is 1 piece, the 3 petals, and the 2 petals. So 1, 2, and 3. And then I cut out 1 of these and 2 of these leaves. But you could cut out as many leaves as you want, and you can choose whichever ones you like. Okay, so that is what we've got. So we've got our 3 leaves, 1, 2, 3 here, and we've got our 3 pieces of our flower, 1, 2, 3 here, and I cut out the stamens here in Lemon Lolly. So I thought those would be too hard to brush and it would be easy to kind of bend them with the blending brush, so I'm just going to set those aside. And why don't we do our flower first, okay? So what I'm doing first here, I'm just going to move the other things out of the way. So I'm going to open up fresh freesia. So we're going to do that. And I've got my blending brush here. These are just some old ones I have. Stampin' Up! Has small ones like these and some larger sized ones as well. I find the small ones work quite well. So we're just going to brush in a little bit of this fresh freesia. Not too much, just a little. And I keep tapping off every time just to make sure that I don't have too much ink there. So what I'm doing is starting at the bottom and making sure I have more color on the bottom than I do as it gets out to the edges. And that's just to make it have a more natural look so that it's more colorful in the center, and toward the edges it turns toward white. So that's just a little tiny bit of that fresh freesia. And we're going to do that on all the other flowers too. Flower pieces rather. So it's super easy. And it can be kind of therapeutic to do this as well. And it's really not hard to get a nice result here. So you don't have to fuss over it. There's no particular right or wrong. It's just brush in the color. You can always add more later as well, so it's no big deal. And we're going to use this as well. So again, we'll start at the smaller piece on this one. Smaller bottom bit, and go out to the edges. Okay, so we've got that as well. So I'll show you those again so you can see them. I'm just going to close up my ink pad first. And you can see what we got here. So just a little blush of this fresh freesia, which is kind of a lavender to pink color anyway. So that's what we're going to do there. Next, we're going to go with the Flirty Flamingo. So here's Flirty Flamingo. This is one of my favorite Stampin' Up! Colors. It kind of makes me think of mid-century modern, and I really, really like that style. So I just like it a lot. So here's my brush that I'm going to use. And if you've never had these brushes before, you can see I did not clean it when I was finished. All I do to clean a brush is to just kind of brush off the color onto a piece of paper or a piece of paper towel. And I just put it away, and I use it for the same color tones every time. You don't very often have to wash them in water. I don't find you do if you have several brushes, and I have quite a few of them. I just keep one for each kind of color family, one for reds, or one for pinks, one for yellows, that sort of thing. And if you do have to wash them, just run them under warm water. You'll see all of this water-soluble ink will come right out. The color will come out. And make sure that when you store them to dry, you store them face down like that. That's so all the water goes out of the bristles and does not go into the base of the brush. Okay, so you want it to all go out the edges. If you store them on a cloth, that'll be just fine. So now we're going to add more color. So I'm going to really ink this middle part and then bring it up into the rest of the flower. And again, this is really not an exact science at all. You can put as much or as little color as is to your taste. So don't worry if your flower looks completely different than mine. Usually when I do a second one, it doesn't look the same as the first one that I did either. And so it really doesn't matter. It's just whatever is to your taste. So just have fun with it and kind of experiment. If you don't like the result, you can always cut a new one. So it's not really a big deal. And we're just going to kind of do this really quickly here. It doesn't take a lot of time, and it doesn't take any special skill. That's what I like about these blending brushes. They're just so fun to use. And they're remarkably easy to get to know how to use them too. So you'll see that the little bit of fresh freesia that we put into the flowers, you're going to be able to see it, but it will become kind of background color here because the Flirty Flamingo is going to take over most of the color here. So I'm just going to brush that off, like I said, and we'll put that back in my little container. I just store them standing up like this. And I got a whole bunch. As you can see, they're all different colors. So there's a pink one. This one's kind of orangey pink. This one's orange and yellow. This one's yellow. This one's green. So I just kind of keep them all separate that way. Okay, so that's all we need to do for that color. So I'm going to just show you what I got there so you can see. So there you go. And that one as well. So we're going to go on to the green now. And the same thing with the green. This one is Parakeet Party. And we're going to put more at the base of the leaves and less out toward the edges. So here's my green. And if you're looking for Parakeet Party, make sure that you get your items in Parakeet Party very soon, because this is one of the retiring colors, and some things are already retired and gone. Not retired, but they're already gone and they're not being restocked in this color. For example, there was a set of embellishments. In fact, I used them on my sample card. These are the 2022 to 2024 in color pearls. And I used them for this card, but now they are gone and you cannot get them anymore. So I'm going to use a different embellishment to show you today, just in case you want to make this card as well. And if you need to order the supplies to make this card, like I said, if you place a $60 or more order with me, you'll get the packets free to make these cards. And I would be happy to help you out with your order if you're not sure what you need. Okay, here we go. All right, so that is it for our flowers and our leaves. I'll show you those. Linda says, oh, confirm if I received your order. Yes, I did receive your order. I was busy with something else this morning that I had to do. But yes, definitely I received it, and I will be getting back to you. Thank you so much. Okay. So here are my leaves, and they're kind of with color gradations here. Yeah, so we've got those done. And I'm just going to put them on my desktop here. And next what we're going to do is assemble our flower on our card. So here's what we're aiming for in the end. So I'm just going to put our sample over here so we can see it. Now, would you believe that we started with just plain white cardstock? So this entire card is only white cardstock. I think it's quite amazing what you can do with just the white cardstock. So let's just assemble our card here so it'll be all ready to go for us. So I have my white base here. So I'm going to take my bone folder and put a nice crisp fold in there. And now I'm going to use dimensionals on the back of this embossed panel that we have. So let's put those on. All right. Oh, yes, I'm glad you like it, Kathy. Yeah, it just is amazing what you can create with a little bit of ink and some white paper. All right, let's put that kind of in the middle as best we can. All right, there we are. Okay, so now we're going to take our pieces and we're going to want to put them together. So first, you've got your 2 petals there, and we're going to put the 3 petal piece on the front. And what I've suggested to do is just use a glue dot, because that will anchor down this little piece in the middle, and it will still allow it to pop up a little and give it sort of a 3D effect at the same time. And no worries if you can see it kind of moving around a little. We're going to put dimensionals on the back, so it will stick really well in the end. What stamp and dies? Ah, yes. So here's the stamp set that I'm using. It's the Easter Lilies stamp set, which is still available. And I'm using the Easter Lilies dies, which are unfortunately out of stock. They weren't obviously when I planned the project, but unfortunately they are now. I hope that they're going to come back before they retire at the end of April. We shall see what happens with that. But in any case, anyone who places the $60 or more order with me, you'll get all these die cut pieces. So you'll get to try it even if you can't get the dies still. And this would work equally well with a number of other sets. Like Irresistible Blooms is one that somebody used at a class the other night to do this flower, and or to do a flower, and it worked really well too. Okay, so we've got to put our little stamens on now, and let's take those and we will add them with a glue dot as well. So let's kind of put them here maybe. And we're going to add this little piece. We're going to put that on a glue dot as well. And then we've got this whole thing together. Okay, so there is our nice little flower we've just constructed out of plain white cardstock. Everything in this card is plain white cardstock. We've just used blending brushes and inks to color that in. So we've got that, and now we're going to place our leaves. So I like to kind of arrange where the flower is going to be. I like it at a little bit of an angle here. So I'm just going to leave that there and see where we want the leaf to go. Kind of like that. The reason I'm doing it that way is just so I know the leaf does not go off the end of the card, and it will therefore fit in the envelope. So I'm just going to stick a glue dot right onto that leaf. So I'll leave it exactly where it is on the paper. Yes, it is retiring. You're right. Easter lilies dies are retiring. I hope they're restocking them though. I'm not sure if they are or they're not, but I do hope that they will, because they're very beautiful, and I'm sure there are some people who would like to get them before they disappear at the end of April. But where they're out of stock right now and they are retiring soon, I'm just not sure. Okay, so let's see, where is this one gonna go? Kind of like that, maybe. Maybe I can move this one over just a touch. And then I can get more leaf there. Okay, that looks good. So I'm going to hold that down, and I'm going to get a glue dot there. We're going to stick that right on and arrange this so that both leaves are not off the end of the paper. Okay, that's good. And we've got one more leaf here to put on, and that one's going to go under here. So it can come down quite a ways, I guess. Yeah, that's pretty good. So we'll just leave that one there. And we'll get one more of these glue dots. I'll put that on there. We'll just leave that exactly where it is, because we know it will fit. And put this on in such a way that it makes sense. There we go. So we've got that all on, and then you can kind of move them a little, because the glue dots will allow you to move the petals and the leaves. And now what we're going to do is flip that whole thing over. So it's kind of messy on the back, right? And you might think some of it would fall apart, but it won't, because we are going to add these dimensionals. All right, so let's get those on there. So you can see what I've done here is I've used several of them, and I've kind of overlapped the pieces so that they won't keep moving on us when we put this on the card. Okay, so we're going to put that on. So let's arrange it carefully before we stick it on. Let's see where we like that. Maybe something like that. Okay, so I like how these leaves are going off the edge of the panel, but not off the edge of the card base. So it will fit in the envelope for us. And now we just need to embellish. So rather than use these now unavailable embellishments that are not coming back, I just checked this morning to make sure, what I am going to use is this set instead. So these ones are called Adhesive Back Sequins Trio, and you can get those right now. I checked right before I did this video today. So you could use any of these colors, really. I think the pink ones or the white ones would look extremely nice. Has anybody got any ideas? What do you think? Should we use the pink or should we use the white on this? Anybody got a preference for that? Because I think really either one would work. And maybe while I'm waiting for comments on that, I will show you the other two cards that go with this set. So I have one that I did last week, and that is this one here. So this one that says, "Peace I give unto you." So I used silver embossing powder here. If you don't want to emboss, What you could do is you could just use gray granite, and that would work fine, or any of the grays for that matter. And then you can just brush in the green and the yellow. So I have a video for that available from last week as well. If you can't find it, just let me know and I can send you the link. And then we used Parakeet Party here on the edges and just kind of stamped randomly around the edges. And then I have one more card that I'm going to do next week. And just a sneak peek of that. It's this one for a proper Easter card that says He is Risen, although you could have it say something else if you're not particularly religious and don't want a card like that. So this one we're going to brush in some color as well and have some embossing and so forth. Okay, all right, I've got some consensus here. We're going to go with white. I think I agree with you, ladies. That sounds like a good plan to me too. All right, so let's put a white one there. We'll use a mix of the small and the larger ones just to make it a little more interesting, I think. Okay, so let's put one there and maybe down there, kind of like that. Maybe not that far. There we go. And then we'll take one more small one and we'll put it up here in the corner. So there is our card for today. So I hope you enjoyed this card. And again, if you'd like to receive these packets free for my 3 cards that I'm making in these 3 weeks, please let me know, and we can have you order $60 worth of items with me, and I'd be happy to send you the packets to make these 3 cards absolutely free, and I won't charge you any shipping for the packets. That's just on me. So thanks again for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.